The icing on the cake for every weekend is when we're able to come in front of your screens, grace your screens, and of course, dish out what we know how to do best on Arise Africa. Glad to have you join us again. It's another lovely Friday morning, and I'm here, Temia Kwirene, with my co-anchor as usual, Chichi Nwagbo.
Good morning to you. Welcome to the program, Arise Africa. How are you doing? I hope you're good. Yes, it's the season to be happy, the season to be excited rather. There are so many ceremonies.
This is the season
Many
to be
ceremonies
jolly,
this season.
like they say. On Arise Africa today, we have a lot in store, and as usual, we'll go on a very, very quick break. Stay tuned. Glad to have you back. It's still Arise Africa, and of course, like I said before we went on break, we're back for the major issue for today. We're looking at a topic, sports betting. Now, over the years, it's no longer news that Nigerians, first of all, are in love with sports, and football being a very predominant sporting activity here in Nigeria that is well loved by many. And there is no greater feeling, if I may say, that comes with people, also getting money from something you also derive pleasure in. And over the years, people have taken to sports betting, putting their money into the game and getting some form of returns. And over the years, the industry has grown in leaps and bounds. On Arise Africa today, we are looking at sports betting holistically. Its pros, its cons. Is it actually a healthy activity to engage in? And we have a guest with us here in the studio, Mr. Ebobu Orishewemi. Nice to have you here.
Welcome.
He's a life coach, he's a motivational speaker. He's also the convener of Making Your Life Count. Glad to have you here again, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Quickly, let's set the ball rolling. First of all, let's look at sports betting. Let's look at what it entails. In summary, what it is all about.
All right, thank you very much for having me once again. Sport betting, it's simple. It's the act of having to determine the outcome of a football match and then placing a wager on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could be any sport. It could be horse racing, it could be table tennis, it could be sport in general. Determining, okay, this team is going to win, or this is going to be the outcome, and then placing a wager for that outcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you say place a wager. I think you're talking about placing money on it.
Placing money on it, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now that's a basic understanding. Money is being placed for the outcome of a particular sport. Football, horse racing, whatever the case may be. Now, in recent years, this has become prevalent amongst youth in Nigeria, sports betting. And it's a huge industry. We have a little statistics that daily Nigerians spend about 5 billion naira on sports betting. And it accumulates to about 735 billion naira in a year. That's almost our national budget that are spent by average Nigerians. Mm-hmm. So, do you think this is a good trend?
It actually tells about the deterioration in the nation. You see, Nigeria is renowned over the world for the high level of poverty. It's even said that the average Nigerian can live on $2 per day. But look at the statistics you just mentioned. Over 5 billion in a single day. And this comes from majority of the young people.
Yes.
So it doesn't tell well on our economy. It doesn't tell well on us as individuals. It only reveals the prevalent vices we have in our society, which is being fueled and then being promoted by some of these betting institutions.
Okay. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to ask this question. Yeah, you said deteriorating, you said vices, and yet this seems to be like poverty alleviation. This seems to be helping our economy. So why do you still call it vices? Why do you call it deteriorating?
Okay, so when you say helping our economy, what make an economy profitable is the collective, it's called the GDP. When a nation, when individuals are producing, when they are becoming productive, then it helps the overall economy. When this money does not come to the Nigeria economy, it comes to these betting institutions. And if you do your research, most of these betting institutions are not being owned by Nigerians.
Okay, they do not pay tax.
They do pay tax, but what the issue here, which from his question, the issue here is the fact that how does this help the average Nigerian? Now, it promotes, when I say vices, it promotes certain tendencies which goes against the law of wealth creation, the illusion of wealth without work, the illusion of quick fix. These are things that kill the dignity of labor, kill the act of being patient, kill character building purposes that would raise industrious Nigeria, that would help in what? In stabilizing our economy.
Okay.
Okay. Now, still looking at some statistical figures that made me cringe. Nigeria has the second highest number of people involved in sports betting after South Africa. We have about 60 million people involved in sports betting. And we have over 50 sports betting companies in the country today, making turnovers. I won't mention name, but one makes a turnover of about $10 million a month. That's huge. Now, what would you say is the driving force behind more people going in? Now, these statistics were as far back as 2018. So what do you think? Why do you think people are engaging in sports betting more and more every year, every passing year?
I would say it's because of this sport betting. They work well with the advertising agency. Now, the way it works basically is this. Okay, they need more people coming in to place bet, and then with the number, then they are able to get a lot of turnover. So the way they do is that they promote the few to the expense of the many. I'll give an example. Okay, they promote the few that has made a million, maybe 10 people that made $1 million from it. They will promote it to, let's say, an audience of 60 million people. And then now you see, okay, I placed an insignificant amount, and then I made this money. So that illusion feeds on the greed on the general populace, and then they come on board thinking that will be their story. So it promotes that false sense of hope. So that is what they use as a bait to draw these young people in. And then, because what you should know, these companies are not set up to enrich you. These companies are set up to enrich themselves and to enrich their their stakeholders. So you are just being a bait, a pawn in their scheme. So, but for them to be able to pull you in, they have to have something which they used to draw you, which is the few lucky winners. So that's why sometimes they give high odds. So odds that are outrageous. Okay, if I bet 1,000 naira, I'm going to win, let's say, 1 million in just a game of 90 minutes. For a young man who wants that kind of money, and then he doesn't see a way, he sees it as a life insurance to go there. So they feed that sense force of hope, and that's why they get so many young people coming into this industry.
Okay. I've actually been told that with regard to sports betting, that it's something you gain expertise with time, that it may not be dependent on luck anymore, because people love the sports. They love the sports, and from something you give so much time to, you'd want to make profit as well. So what I hear is that some of them are, they've learned to predict the games, so why I'm asking, because of it's as if there aren't the advantages, they're not equal to the cons rather, yes, of the game of sports betting. So, but looking at it from the other side, there must be some kind of pleasure for more people to be going into it. It can't be altogether bad, or what do you think?
Okay,
you understand what I'm trying to say?
You're trying to the people that have benefited from the industry. Me, I deal with statistics. I'm talking from a statistical point of view. Now, if we call 100 young people now in this city who are heavily involved in sport betting. Now, if you take the statistics of those who have profited majorly from it, you will see that it's a minute few. Right. Now it's not many of them. Yes, I've known people who have made from this, but it's not a sure source of wealth creation. It's not something you would want to hinge your financial future upon. That is what makes it betting. You see, you lose from the people I've interacted with and from statistics, you lose more than you gain. But when you gain, yes, you can gain, and you can, even according to the National Endowment for Financial Education, which is one of the leading NGO when it comes to educating young individuals to be literate financially. They've even made up that even for 70% of people who have made huge turnout from this from this betting and all that, in a few years they end up broke.
70%.
70%.
That's huge. That's huge. Quickly, there was a picture that was on the social media space like a couple of weeks ago. A lady who went, I think she's married or maybe a single mother, went to a sporting shop, even with a child strapped to her back. I think maybe she took the child from school and was at the sports betting shop, placing bets. And it made me think, do you think poverty has a role to play in this? Do you think people actually see this as a means to an end?
That's even why you see, apart from South Africa, Nigeria is the second leadest, because why the poverty here is very hard, and then people see it as a way to be able to alleviate it. But the truth is, that's why I'm having this huge sense of concern. Now you'd see, I've seen people, I've talked to people, I've worked and counseled people that just have 200 naira and is hungry. What would you think a sensible person would do?
Well, maybe go for food, but
but they would rather use it and go and steak,
or go for airtime to call
people for assistance. But they would rather use it to go and steak. Why? That sense force of hope. That sense force of hope. Now the industry has its pros. I would give it that. But the cons I'm talking about for the average Nigerian youth now, the cons outweighs the pros. Now you said something earlier that there are people that have studied the industry, they know how to place bets strategically and all that. Yes, but if you see those people, they are an organized body. And even at that, it's even difficult for an average Nigerian to bet with someone like that, because even when you bet with them, there's a certain percentage and all that they would have to extract from you. There was a guy I canceled. The elder sister, upon traveling out, gave him some huge amount of money for keeps. The guy, more than 5 million naira in Nigerian currency. You see, the guy exhausted the entire money on sport betting.
Wow.
I'm telling you, he exhausted the entire money on sport betting. Now, he won intermittently, but the return still goes by. It's like a voucher that feeds you from within. Because, okay, just imagine you woke up today, you just had 100 naira, and then you placed a bet and you had 10,000 or 100,000. You would see that, okay, this is something that can always happen. So it feeds addiction like no man's business.
If someone is becoming addicted to something like this, where maybe any money that comes across or any money that comes into your hand, you want to always use it for betting, and maybe you starve yourself or maybe, for example, a married man, maybe starve your family. How can someone break out of this?
First of all, that's one of the reasons I advocate for financial literacy. The truth is this: people see it as a quick fix to their financial condition. It's not a quick fix. Wealth is built on certain principles and then fixed laws. It's built on certain ideologies and mentality. Now, the truth is this: if we don't begin to educate our young people about the systematic way to go about building wealth, we'll keep having these companies and other institutions coming in to take advantage of the gullibility of our youth. This is why also you could see different companies that spring forth, and then in a matter of, they feed on what? The desperation of these people. They feed on the tendency of greed, and they feed on, and because of that, people wait for the next thing they can easily put today, sow today, and reap tomorrow. But these things, if we begin to educate them on the truth about money, about how money is really made, and start putting up things that the government coming together with private institutions and then responsible citizens also coming together to talk to these people, help them, teach them, let them see the concept. Because what the advertising agency do, they promote the pros. They never talk about the cons. Now imagine 1 million people would go into this bet in a day. For example, they bet 1,000 naira each. That's 10 billion naira in a day. Now, out of that 10 billion naira, let's say for the 1 million people that went into it, 100 of them won. They won 1 million each. So that's 100 million. It's nothing compared to 10 billion. But then they will promote this 100 million. and they will promote these young guys that have won it. And then these other ones that have lost, they look at them, they have this false sense of hope and security that, okay, today I lost, today, tomorrow. So we need to let them see the pros of the industry as much as the cons of the industry as much as the pros is being promoted.
Okay. Quickly, let me play a little bit of now. First of all, okay, let's look at this. We have some other ventures that can be akin to sports betting. Now, let's look at forex, for instance. Now, you see, these are things because now when you look at the betting, it's about, like you said, when you gave the definition, you put a stake, you predict an outcome. Now, forex is also forex is also like that. Now, you also you put in money, you predict the outcome, and at the end of the day, you could run at a loss. Forex is not seen as being too addictive or creating the kind of issues we have with sports betting. Why? So if we can say forex is okay, sports betting, why?
Well, with forex, it's there are individuals that go into forex, but you won't rate individuals. Individuals would want to trade through an organized institution, an organized body. And one thing I've discovered about this forex is that they limit, if you're trading for them, they limit the amount of money you can lose, the percentage. They limit it. Once you're able to, they regulate the system. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay. Now, an individual can't regulate him or herself when he's into sport betting, because you have liberty to bet as much as you want. You have liberty to go. So that liberty is what fits the addiction. Now, when it comes to sport, when it comes to forex, now this is how it works. You don't put money in forex today and expect the money tomorrow. It has a longer time frame than a sport betting. Okay. Now, it's for what I've discovered, it takes about 30 days. Once you give them money, they give you a certain return in 30 days and all that. Now, in these 30 days, they can trade today and they make it. They trade tomorrow, they lose it. And then before that 30 days, they've accumulated more. And then they can easily give you your return without you even knowing, okay, they toss the tovey they went through. So it's a system that is more stable than the regular.
But the similarities are really many.
Yeah, there are similarities.
You're speculating, you're dealing with what you do not know. You have to trust your instinct. You have to read in between the lines. You have to determine how much you're putting. I think there are still quite a number of similarities.
There's a lot of similarities with forex and sport betting. But one thing that distinguishes forex from the sport betting out there is the fact that, okay, financial instruments also are still being used. And then most of these financial instruments, they predict faster than humans. Okay. So they predict faster than humans.
Okay. Please, let's shake the table because we are running out of time. Now, is it right for a Christian to engage in sports betting?
Is it right for a Christian?
Is it a sin?
Yes. Is it a sin?
Okay. Let's use that word.
Yes. Is it a sin for a Christian to actually be involved in sports betting?
Well, outrightly, I've not seen anywhere in the Bible where it stated that betting is a sin. But now, these things, betting itself funds certain vices the Bible is against. Okay. So now, taking it from that position, now the Bible talks about greed. The Bible talks against laziness. The Bible talks against wealth without work. The Bible talks against self-control, patience. These are things. These are virtues the Bible encourages Christians to internalize. Now, if these are virtues that goes against the sport betting industry, so rather than stick with whether it's right or wrong, since it fits these vices the Bible talks against, I would say categorically, for a Christian that really values his walk with God, it's not an industry you should delve into, or a sustainable path to wealth.
I would like to also add, the Bible says, if you don't work, don't eat. And that's like going against the Bible. It's like you're not working.
Well, some would argue that sports betting is working because if I have to sit down and there's a term forecast. If I have to forecast a game and say, okay, Chelsea will be playing Everton on Friday, so is Chelsea going to win? I'm actually burning mental energy trying to how many times have Chelsea won Everton before? Can they pull it off again? Is this a show? So some would argue that that's also working.
Yes. Well, see, so instead of hinging on the fact of right or wrong, I would also hinge on the fact that okay, it has to do with your dealings with God. There are certain things that that Paul would say it this way: everything is expedient. Everything is lawful, but not everything is important. Not is expedient for me to do. Now there are certain things you should know. Now, okay, cigarette is out there, drinks is out there. There are still Christians that drink, whether they know it's wrong or right. If they don't want to know it's wrong or right, everyone is looking for a reason to justify their actions. So that's why I said it has to be your personal dealings with God. If you see it as a sustainable path to wealth and you're okay with it from within, continue with it. But if you see it as okay, something that my spirit does not condone, yes, then you refrain yourself from it. So I think it's individual dealings, because if you stick with right or wrong, would not leave the subject.
I like the fact where you said it's not the betting itself; it's about what it feeds.
Yeah, the vices.
The vice. So because of what it feeds, as a Christian, the Bible speaks against being, against things like greed. Against those are things that it feeds. So you should be able to know that if it feeds these things that the Bible speaks against, then perhaps as a Christian I should
refrain
abstain
myself from
But,
yeah.
but I think aside religion, there's the issue of your value,
Yeah, value system.
the issue of
Value
your
system.
principle.
Yeah.
So these things could also count.
Comes into
You should
play.
put that into consideration before
Very
you
true, because
decide
there are
that.
those that are not even religious per se, but they have strong principles,
Yes.
and then they refrain
They
themselves
refrain
from
from
things
it.
like this.
Yeah.
Okay, one other quick thing. Also prevalent now is the fact now, and this has to do with even the laws of Nigeria, because it's pari passu. Now you have a case of Nigeria not having stringent laws, or rather good laws as it concerns betting, and so now you have teenagers, because now you have lots of these sports betting shops scattered across town. As a matter, in my street, I have like 5 or 4 of them, and so anybody walks in and stakes, they don't even care. A child of 10 or 15 or 12 even goes in there. They collect the money from the child, and the child places a bet. So you have teenagers, because now even if there are good rules in place, it also be from 18 and above.
Yes.
That should be able to involve themselves in betting. But you have a country where our rules are only on paper, and some are not even regulated at all. So you have this case now. Rampant is becoming rampant. Teenagers are now being involved in this, stealing monies from home, going into betting shops, staking 100 naira, 200 naira, also expecting to hit big. How do we curtail this rising inferno?
You see, like you said, our laws are mostly said on paper, read on paper, but there's no institution on ground to implement it. Even the ones on ground are corrupt. Now, most of these, the sad thing to say, most of these companies, you'll find that they are well regulated in the Nigerian economy. They will tell you, don't place bets. It has to be from 18 and above. All those laws are already in place. But who would be the one to enforce it in the 4 or 5 kiosks in your area?
Yes, exactly.
Who is going to do that? But then, and who is going to, when you see that those things are not regulated, it promotes these certain atrocities we're talking about. So I think first of all, we need to call it for what it is. So okay, sport betting. If there should be a better way to start managing the process. Not everyone should be given a license to open a kiosk here, to open a kiosk there, because with that, the teenagers within that vicinity are more prone to things like this. These teenagers, they need money. They will come to their parents, and the parents tell them, "Oh no, what do you need it for?" And then, if I put it here, I would get it. Of course, it will to help them draw towards a situation. So I think better system should be on ground to manage who has the license to open a kiosk in any of the vicinity around.
So that means, for what you're saying right now, regulating this would be in the hands of the family.
The truth is this: most of the problems we see in society today is the negligence of the parents. That's the truth. Everybody comes from a family, and then even this sport betting, there are family that have inculcated the right values, morals, principles, ethic in their life you don't find a child going to do that, no matter how desperate they need money. No. So if you see it, most times we rely so much on the government to fix problem we should fix in our home. You see, so if the mistakes of the parents that we see in the street in a few years' time. So one of the ways we can curb this is called intentional parenting. And then we as responsible individuals, when you see something like that in an area, you should start calling these people and start educating them, telling them the truth about the industry, telling them the truth about making money. Everyone has to put hands on deck. If we wait for the government, like you see, the government is not ready to respond to any of the cries of the citizens. So it's something we should do. For first of all, take care of do from a family standpoint, and then do it for a community standpoint. Where you have to be responsible to ensure that certain of these vices are kept under check by teaching these people rightly how these laws work, so that they can create sustainable wealth for themselves.
Well said. Quickly, let's narrow down a little. It's easier to actually shine more light on the vices and talk about the cons of sports betting when either you're not really involved or you've really been involved in huge losses. But how do you convince someone who may have won like 10 million naira in sports betting? How do you convince such a person that sports betting is actually not good or healthy for such a person? Because the person may want to go back, if I can win 10 million, I may be able to get 100 million. So let me see. How do you convince such a person to pull out of it?
From research I did when coming on this show, I see the biggest losers are previous winners when it comes to this industry.
Okay.
Yeah. The biggest losers are previous winners.
So the worst thing that can happen to you is when you bet first and you win. You're addicted for life.
Is that like a beginner's luck or something?
You see, sometimes people have that tendency, okay, you go into something once and then you strike it big. And then you think, then you start giving yourself a lot of excuse. Oh, maybe I'm made for this. My intelligence, I can force. No, you'll start seeing. And then if you use something, okay, maybe I use a little money to get more. Then I mean that this is something I'm good at. Then most people that actually become addicted and most people that actually fund the industry are those that have benefited from the industry most.
Okay.
Wow.
So they are like customers.
Okay. Well, that is quite interesting. Well, we are beginning to wrap up on this. But what would be your general advice per se? Because we may have people who are not even Christians watching the show, so it's not just about. So you're speaking to people out there mixed, could be Christians and non-Christians alike. So what would be your general advice as it relates to sports betting?
My general advice is this: sport betting is like every other business out there, and the business is set up to make profit. Now, they make profit from people patronizing the business. So the more patronage they have, the more profit they make. Now, you see yourself as a customer. You're going to buy. You're not a partner with them. So don't expect going into the industry to profit from the wealth of the industry. No, the profit of the business goes to the owners of the business and then its shareholders. So you are just, if you strike gold, you're just lucky. See it as luck. Don't see it as a sustainable investment scheme. Because if it's sustainable investment scheme, what you make today, you can make it whenever and however. So see it as okay. So you can call it, if you want to indulge, you can say, okay, this is something I do for pastime. But don't see it as a sure venture to wealth making, because you'll be very disappointed.
Abstinence is actually the best bet. That's all we can take on Arise Africa today. We've been speaking with none other than Mr. Ebubu Orishewemi John. I could put John in the middle, but I think I still got it right. He's an inspirational speaker. He's a life coach, and of course, he's the convener of Making Your Life Count. It's been nice having you here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming.
Shedding light on this very important topic.
Thank you very much.
We hope that next time when we call on you, you'll be available. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, Chichi, your final words.
Yeah, I guess this is where we're drawing the curtain. A pretty interesting topic, and I would say a bit controversial, depends on how you see it. But we hope to see you stay safe. Make sure that you do the right thing. It shouldn't be about money. It shouldn't be about quick gratification. It's about longevity. It's about creating a legacy. It's about impacting your society positively. So I guess I'll see you next week, Friday.
From all of us here at the African Broadcasting Network studios, it's bye for now.